Di mauupos na pala tong ano ko. Alright, so as I was saying guys, ito yung brief outline natin. After a brief description of the company, financial statements analysis, andyan yung pag-compute ng NOWC, TOC, NOPAT, ROIC, EVA, MVA. And then ito yung mga 5 ratios natin, no? Liquidity, asset management, debt ratio, profitability, market value. So dapat kino-compute natin yon. Tapos what happens is that you compare yung performance ng dalawang companies. Okay, ang ino natin, 'di ba? 3 years yung yung FS natin, no? 3 years para meron tayong on the year and then progression over time. And then lastly, you have analysis of the cash flow statement and then a conclusion, no? Conclusion about your findings in the ratio analysis. And then appendix, guys, you have to include your income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statements of both companies. Kindly use APA format for text, okay? Tables, figures, dapat may pangalan, no? Kung may titles, may labels, yung text and tables dun sa text natin. Okay? So, all right, when is this due? Next week is finals. Kailan ba yung ano? By the way, no? Finals natin is, before I forget, departmental kasi yung finals. So finals, ang schedule ng finals is June 1. This is departmental. 1,300 to 1,500. Okay, so this is the final schedule. June 1, 1,300 to 1,500. Okay, so that's the schedule. All right, any questions about the outline, guys? Deadline. Okay. Kailan ba yung course card distribution? When is June 1? Anong day yung June 1, guys?
Tuesday po.
Tuesday. That's already next week, ano?
Yes po.
Tuesday next week. Tapos, would you know kung kailan schedule ng course card distribution? Yung ano, consultation?
Sir, on the 7th and 8th po ata yung consultation.
7th and 8th.
7th grade consultation is on the 7th.
Okay, so 6th ng June, no? Okay, deadline 6 ng June, no? 1 day before the consultation. Okay, mali kayo mamaya na lang, ha? Okay, any questions, guys, regarding this? So that's 1 day before the consultation. Gawin natin 6 p.m., ha? To be submitted in an assignment folder I will create in Canvas. Okay, so I'll create an assignment folder in Canvas. Since it's a group work, guys, so let's see, only one, and then dapat all members, no? All members should submit in their folder. Okay, so kahit na group work yan, guys, still dapat mag-submit ka rin ng ano, ng output nyo, no? Clear to, guys?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Sige. So, no more questions regarding this? Okay, so let's proceed, guys. Let's open the Excel file that we are going to work on. Tatlo pang topics, capital budgeting. Hindi natin matatapos to, pero most of it will be able to finish today. And then we discuss next meeting yung cost of capital and risk and return. Kung ano man yung hindi natin matapos nun, guys, I'll magke-carry over na lang ako sa Friday. I-record ko. You can attend, guys, yung pag-record ko, so that if you have questions, attendance will not be checked at that time. Okay, so in a nutshell, guys, pag sinabi nating capital budgeting, we are working on long-term projects, no? Hindi nag-work kasi yung ano ko, sorry my digital pad is not working. Okay. So when we talk of capital budgeting, as distinguished from operating budget, no? Kasi pag sinabing OPEX, operating expenditures, that's for 1 year. No? For one operating period, kunyari isang taon usually. Pag CAPEX, guys, capital expenditure, the project, the investment required will benefit more than one operating period. Kaya nga yung mga investment in machinery, equipment, capital assets like land, building, no? Ito mga to ang tawag sa kanya capital expenditures, and it will require capital budgeting methods. Okay, so dito pag-aaralan natin, how do we decide, how do we assess whether a particular project is feasible or not from a finance perspective. So for example, ito. If you recall, dati, di ba, sabi natin, idadagdag mo lang yan, no? If we add that, some of this one, ito mga inflows, no? 1,880, pero ang initial investment natin, 1,200,000. So, without knowledge in finance, sasabihin natin, okay, no? Or pwedeng, hindi okay, depending on whatever barometer you're using, no? Pero from a practical perspective, pwede natin sabihin na okay to kasi yung inflow natin, itong mga to, these are your inflows, is 1.88 million, yung outflow natin 1.2 million, mas malaki yung inflow kaysa sa outflow. Okay? But we said last time that that cannot be the decision, no? Mali yung process. Mali yung decision rule. Kasi ito, these are cash flows that belong to different time frames, and we cannot just add them. Kasi nga, that will violate the time value of money concept. So mali yun. So anong gagawin natin, guys? We have to project them to one time frame. So either lahat i-convert natin into a zero time frame, and when we do that, we're actually getting the present value, or you can project it at year 5. No? Lahat ng mga yan, lahat ng mga cash flows natin, ilalagay natin sa year 5. And that means just getting the future value of each of the cash flow. Or you can put it at year 3. No problem, kahit sa natin ilagay yan, kahit sa anong time reference, time point, pwede natin gawin yon. Only that, when we do that, guys, saka natin siya pwedeng i-add yung mga cash flows natin. And only then are we able to make a decision whether the project is feasible or not. So that's how we work on capital budgeting. No? The operative principle is that you cannot add cash flows that belong to different time frames. Take note, ito, no? Sa capital budgeting, importante na cash flow ang kino-consider natin. No? Ito yung sinasabi natin na na cash flow is king, di ba? Dun sa unang principles natin. So we're not using net income after tax as a barometer for computing for determining whether the project is feasible or not. Yung net income after tax, that has to be converted into cash flow. Okay? Tapos yung cash flow ang i-analyze natin kung feasible or not. So we learned about this principle already before. So sabi natin, mali yung i-add to. We cannot do that. What we can do is, the normal practice is to convert everything into cash flow at time 0. In other words, we're getting the present value. Okay? What's the present value of 1.2 million if it's today? Ano present value niyan? Ito guys, ano present value nito? Answer? Anyone? Okay, ito guys, now to now, today, itong times 0 na to. So sabi dito, may outflow tayo na 1.2 million. Maglalabas tayo ng 1.2 million. Yun yung initial investment natin. Okay, ano present value nito? Anyone, please? What is the present value of this one? Hello? Ano present value nito, guys? Can you hear me, guys? Anyone, please chat nga kung naririnig niyo ako. Baka hindi niyo ako naririnig.
Rinig po, sir.
Hello? Mahina?
Hi, sir.
Sorry. Okay. Yan, can you hear me now? Sorry, may problema yung mic ko eh. Alright. So as I was saying guys, itong 1.2 million, ano yan? Initial investment yan. Outflow yan. Kaya pinormat natin na naka-parenthesis, tas nakapula pa. So alam natin it's a cash outflow. Ang question ko, how much is the present value of 1.2 million? Nasa time 0 siya, ibig sabihin, now yan, now. So how much is the present value of 1.2 million? Anyone? Yeah, thank you. Correct. That's 1.2 million then. Kasi now na to eh. No? So ang present value ng 1.2 million, which is supposed to occur now, is also 1.2 million. Okay? So pag kinompute natin yung present value nito, dapat 1.2 million din yan. Okay, so you recall how to compute for the present value? Okay, do you recall guys? Okay, since lagyan mo natin ng pangalan tong WACC kasi mukhang yung WACC pare-pareho sa lahat, no? Yung weighted average cost of capital natin, we're using 12.6. Okay, so let's give this a name. Okay, I'll highlight this. Control Shift F3. Okay, diba? To give automatically the name. 12.6, we'll give it WACC, a name WACC. Okay, so if I click this, notice that yung may pangalan na siya dito na WACC. Okay, so let's compute for the present value. Okay, in order to avoid guys na maging negative, mag-opposite yung sign ng present value natin, we're going to use negative here. Ang rate natin is our WACC, di ba? WACC, comma. What's our NPER? Ang NPER natin is the number above, no? 0. And then comma. PMT, this is not an annuity. Okay? So future value is this one. Okay? Type ignore because this is not an annuity. Close. So I expect to get there negative 1.2 million also. Control Enter. Okay. So tama nga, ang present value nitong 1.2 million na cash flow now is also 1.2 million. So let's run this. Let's copy the formula. Okay, so this means that 420,000 after 1 year is 373 today. Yun ang equivalent niya. If the rate of return is 12.6%. Okay, so now guys, you have this present value of your cash flows. Okay, can we now add these cash flows? Paki-answer nga kung yes or no. Pwede na ba natin siyang i-add? Unmute na lang or chat?
Yes, sir. Pwede na po.
Yes, pwede na, no? The rest, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Correct? Tama. So yes, no? Pwede na natin i-add. We can now add these cash flows. We can now add them because they now belong to the same time frame. Okay, so if we add them equal to sum, this one. Okay, so this is now our present value of all these cash flows. And there's a special name for that. It's called, anong tawag natin dyan, guys? It's called your net present value. So that's your net present value or your NPV. Okay? Sabi natin sa capital budgeting, ang decision rule, kapag positive yung net present value, then the project is acceptable. Okay, so okay yung project. Project Y is okay, no? So let's also do that for project Z kasi may dalawang options tayo, no? Either project Y or project Z. So let's compute also negative PV. Negative PV. The rate is also WACC. Okay, the NPER is this one, 0. PMT, ignore kasi hindi naman siya annuity. And then the future value is this one. So as expected, 1.8 din siya. And then copy the formula to the right. Okay, so you notice, guys. Okay, so these are now present values. And then we can add this. Oops. Copy ko lang yung format nito. Okay. All right. So is project Y acceptable? Is project Y acceptable, guys? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Acceptable ba si project Y? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Bakit siya acceptable? Why is it acceptable, guys?
It's more than 0.
Okay, correct. Thank you. So our decision rule is if the NPV is greater than 0, then project is acceptable or investment is acceptable. Is project Z acceptable?
Yes po, sir.
Yes, also acceptable, no? So both X and Y are acceptable. Y and Z are acceptable. Ang tanong na lang, okay? Ang tanong na lang, sinong mas acceptable dyan? Si Y o si Z? Sa tingin nyo?
Z po.
Z.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. Now, that's good, no? In terms of just looking at the NPV, mukhang mas acceptable si Project Z kasi mas malaki yung net present value niya, di ba? Kaso nga lang, guys, take note. Si Project Y, ang initial investment natin 1.2 million. Si Project Z 1.8 million. Okay? So we cannot outright say na mas magaling si Project Z based on the NPV. Kung pareho lang sana silang initial investment, then automatically, hands down choice si Project Z. Kasi, kunyari, pareho lang silang 1.2 million ang initial investment. Tapos, ibang project si Z. Okay? Tapos, sino mas maganda sa dalawa? Definitely si Project Z. Okay? But, take note that we have to take a look at the initial investment. Okay? So, I'll go back to that in a while, no? Pero ang importante sa atin ngayon, pag greater than 0 yung yung NPV, yung net present value, this is NPV for Project Z, no? This is NPV for Y. Okay. So if the NPV is greater than 0, then okay yung project natin, acceptable natin based on net present value rule. Okay. Now another, okay, so, all right. So what we did here was to compute for the NPV of each of the cash flows. Now may shortcut niyan, no? There's a shortcut there. Okay. So ito, lagyan na lang natin dito, no? NPV of Y is 159. Dito NPV of Z is 244. Okay. Now how did we generate this? We took the present values of all the cash flows and then added them. Kaya nakuha natin itong 15986. However, guys, di ba sabi natin may quick formula yan? You don't have to get individually the present values. So we can use the Npv function of Excel, Npv. Oops. Kaso we have to be very careful and take note of what this gives us. Okay, ano sabi nito? returns the net present value of an investment based on a discount rate and series of, take note, future payments. Pag sinabing future payments, it starts at, tinitingnan niya yung starting with year 1. Okay? So let's compute for this. NPV, rate natin is the same, ito yung WACC natin. Okay? And then value 1 hanggang value, whatever value. Sabi natin, dapat future cash flows ang titingnan. No? So this one. Okay, kaya nagsisimula tayo sa year 1 in this case. Hindi natin pwedeng isama to. Otherwise, pag sinama natin to, ang gagawin ni Excel, it will read it as occurring at year 1, after 1 year to, which is wrong. Kasi yung 1.2 million na yan, now na yan. No? Okay. If we, so yun lang, ano? If we click that, ang nakukuha natin, 1359856. Now, bakit iba siya dun sa NPV ng Y natin? Okay, kasi guys, ang kinuha lang natin sa NPV function na yan, yung present value nito. Future, so nagsimula sa year 1. So dapat, kunin din natin yung present value nito. Okay, so dapat i-add natin. I-add na lang natin kasi naka-negative na siya, no? And we can add this. Bakit? Kasi present value din to. Alright? So Control Enter. So you have now the same formula. In fact, guys, if we did not, diba? Yan ang unang answer natin. If we did not include the 1.2 million, okay? So papakita ko lang, had we summed this up, ito lang sinam natin from year 1 up to year 5. Okay, ito yon, no? 1359. Which is this one, 1359. So itong 1359, it's just the present value of this future cash flows. Hindi natin sinama to, dapat kasama yan. So what we have to do is to add the initial cash flow, which is this one. Okay, Control Enter. So pareho na siya, 159856. Okay, pause muna ako. Okay, I'll give you time to I hope you're working on this also, guys. Tapos paki-ano na lang paki-chat kung may questions o walang questions. Kung clear, paki-chat na lang na clear, guys. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, the rest? Okay ba so far? Okay, thank you. Okay. Sandali guys, pause ko lang pause. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Tricia, for reminding me. Okay, balikan ko yun So, I'm sorry, dito yata na-miss natin to, no? So ito guys, kinompute natin si IRR for Project Y, ito IRR for Project Z, and then we compared the two. Mas mataas yung IRR, internal rate of return ni Project Y, compared to Project Z, and then we said that based on IRR, mas maganda si Project Y. However, if we compare it with the NPV, okay, pag NPV, if we're just going to base it on the absolute value of NPV, mas maganda si Z. Okay? Kung i-base natin sa IRR, profitability index, mas maganda din si Project Z. So we now have a scenario where may conflict si NPV at profitability index compared with IRR. So sino susundin? No? Okay? Sino susundin? Ang rule dyan guys, in all cases, no? Follow NPV or profitability index. Always guys, always follow NPV or profitability index. Okay, compared to IRR. Okay, bakit? Okay, I won't go into the details guys, pero there's yung way ng pag-compute ng IRR, merong mga assumptions yan na which make it less theoretically, let's say, correct, no, compared to NPV. Kasi pag kinompute natin si IRR, may assumption dito, guys, na ginagamit para to compute for IRR. Okay? So compared to NPV, mas quote-unquote, mas theoretically sound yung NPV as compared to IRR. Pero bakit pa nagko-compute ng IRR? Kasi importante din, guys, yung IRR. Kasi sometimes we tend to think in terms of percentages. No? It's better to appreciate a statement like this. The rate of return of the project is 10% as compared to the net present value of the project is 1,200. Okay, so para mas madaling i-comprehend, mas madaling i-appraise, mas madaling unawain si IRR, which is a percentage value as compared to NPV. Kaso nga lang, guys, mas theoretically sound si NPV kaysa kay IRR. That's why we come to this modified IRR, no? So itong modified IRR, this is another way to compute for IRR, minodify nga lang nila, no? So let's compute for that. Dito natin ilagay, no? Let's put it here. So MIRR, no? So let's compute for the MIRR. MIRR. Okay, so what's the MIRR? Returns the internal rate of return for a series of periodic cash flows considering both cost of investment and interest on reinvestment of cash. So as compared to IRR, sorry hindi ko na-flash kanina, IRR. Sabi dito, returns the rate of return for a series of cash flow. Hindi masyadong in-explain ni Excel. Pero there's a difference, guys, no? In computing for MIRR and IRR. If you take a look at this, okay, so ang kaibahan nila, ito. Ang kaibahan nila yung sa denominator. Dito, guys, sa IRR, your cash flow is reinvested at IRR. Ito naman, your cash flow is reinvested at the modified internal rate of return. Okay? Yung MIRR, guys, is more consistent with NPV. So that's why when there's a conflict, we tend to compute also MIRR. MIRR will always agree with NPV. So let's do that. No? Let's do that. So ang values natin, MIRR, ang values natin is lahat ng mga values natin dito. No? So these are our actual values. Okay, and then comma. Ano yung finance rate natin? What's our finance rate? Yes, correct. That's WACC, no? So this is WACC. Okay. What's our reinvestment rate? Our reinvestment rate is also WACC. Yan. So ang reinvestment rate natin equal to WACC. Okay. So let's compute for this. 15.45. So that's 15.45%. On the other hand, this one, MIRR, okay, ang values natin dyan, this one for Z, finance rate is WACC, and also investment rate is at WACC. So we have now 15.51%. Okay, now let's compare based on MIRR. So based on MIRR, which project should be followed? So guys, based on MIRR, sino dapat yung based on MIRR, sino dapat yung project na pipiliin? Correct, correct. It's Z, no? Z. Kasi mas mataas yung MIRR ni Z kaysa kay Y. So always, guys, si MIRR agrees with your net present value decision rule. Okay? As compared to IRR. Again, guys, let me just reiterate that. Pag nagko-conflict si NPV at saka si IRR, ang lagi nasusunod si NPV. Okay? By virtue of a more robust or more correct theoretical framework in computing. Kaya nga, nagkaroon ng MIRR. Okay? And this is the quote-unquote more correct way to compute for your IRR. And it will always agree with your NPV. Okay, so based on MIRR, project Z is chosen, and this agrees with NPV decision. Okay. All right. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Okay, so clear ba? Pakichat nga lang kung clear or ano? Kung clear, guys. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, actually, guys, capital budgeting is quite relatively easy, no? Kasi pag alam natin, guys, yung concept, tsaka alam natin yung mga functions, NPV, IRR, MIRR, it's really so easy to compute. Okay, payback naman. Paano yung payback? So dalawang klaseng payback. It's your payback at saka discounted payback. Yung payback, it just asks the question, asks the question, gaano natin katagal marirecover yung initial investment natin. Okay? Kunyari ito, 1, 2. Okay, so first year, 420. Okay, so ilan pa yung kulang natin, guys? First year na recover natin. Okay? So ibig sabihin nito, sa first year, after 1 year, kailangan pa natin ma-recover yung 780, di ba? Right? Kasi ang initial investment natin 1.2 million. After the first year, may inflow tayo na 420. Okay? Then on the second year, guys, magkano na bali yung neto natin? So that's 780 plus 480. Diba? So 300 pa yung kailangan nating bawiin. Diba? And then, pagdating ng third year, okay, so lagyan nga natin to ng para kita natin years. Control C. Okay. Control V. Okay, pagdating ng third year, guys, ano nangyari? Mari-recover na ba natin? Sa third year kasi ang makukuha natin 320. As of the second year, 300 pa dapat yung ma-recover natin. On the third year, 320 makukuha natin. Therefore, guys, mari-recover na natin. No? We'll be able to recover the initial investment on the third year. So it's 3 plus 3 something years yung recovery natin. That's what we call the payback period. Okay, clear so far, guys? Okay. Any questions about the payback period? So alam natin na ang payback period natin is around 3 something years. Okay, so let's formally compute for that. Paano natin kailangan natin i-cumulate natin, guys. So 1, 2 plus 420 pagdating dito. Tapos pagdating dito, 1, 2 plus 420 plus 480. Okay, so we're going to use a technique kung paano tayo mag-cumulate. Okay, so is equal to sum Okay. So paano natin i-cumulate to, guys? Any suggestion, guys? Gusto ko isang formula lang tapos i-copy natin to the right. Okay, no suggestions? Okay, so this is how we do it, guys. No? Sum. Okay, highlight natin to. Okay, and then press shift yung colon. When you press colon, guys, shift colon, what happens? what happens, guys? Pag pinas yung colon, anong nangyayari? Automatically, rini-repeat ni Excel yung location ng initial cash flow natin. Now, the only thing that we have to do here is highlight the first one, tapos F4. No? Tapos i-fix lang natin si column B. Kasi ikakopy natin yung formula na to the right. So hindi naman nagbabago yung position ng column natin. No? Column 4. Column 104. Row 104. So we only need to fix column B. Okay? So close natin to. Control Enter. So obviously 1, 2 din yan kasi the sum of 1, 2 with itself is 1, 2. Okay, and then yan. Okay, pause muna ako. I want to see your feedback kung naintindihan yung formula na yun. I'm going to flash the formula. And kindly chat, guys, kung if you were able to do it. Pakisabing yes lang or kung nagawa nyo or no, kung may questions kayo. I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, pakichat na lang guys kung nakuha ha. Pakichat guys kung yes kung nakuha o no kung may questions. Okay. Kamusta na guys? Nakuha ba? Paki-feedback naman kung nakuha nyo yung cumulative cash flow natin. Okay, thank you, Hans. How about the rest, guys? Kamusta? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, thank you, Charles. Hans, the rest, guys? Okay, Charmaine, thank you. Okay, Christian, thank you. Sana mag-reply yung iba. Okay, a few more, guys. Thank you, Kyle. Okay, thank you, Eliza. Okay, I'll give a few more seconds, guys, for the others to comment kung nakuha nila or if they have any questions. Okay, so so what we did here was to cumulate, no? Ibig sabihin ng cumulate from the first to the second sinum, ito, first, second, third, habang while we go to the right, nakasama yung initial. Okay, therefore, the payback period here, we will assume that the cash flow here is generally taken or obtained uniformly throughout the years. Okay, so we can now say that the payback period is equal to, ilang years to, guys? Ilang years? Anong year natin marirecover yung initial investment? Ito, di ba? On the third year. Kasi dito, 300,000 on the third year. Okay, tama. Year 3, no? Year 3. So this is year 3. Year 3. And then, okay, i-prorate na lang natin plus, okay, ilan pa yung kailangan natin na ano? Ilan pa yung kailangan natin na cash flow, guys? How many, guys? Diba dito nag-change, no? From negative naging positive. So, ibig sabihin 20,000 okay, nakakakuha tayo so nag-positive na siya, no? Na-recover na natin. Nag-excess na tayo ng kasi 300,000 may kulang pa. Tapos nakakuha tayo dito ng 320. So, nag-excess na tayo ng 20. Ibig sabihin, na-recover natin. Tapos, ang sobra natin is, ilan pa yung kailangan natin, guys? As of the second year, 300,000 pa yung kailangan natin. No? So, dapat, i-ratio natin. I'm going to put negative here kasi negative tong value na to. 300 divided by 320. So, why did we do that? Take note, on the second year, 300,000 pa yung kailangan natin. Okay, so yung 300,000 na yan, kailangan ma-recover natin yan on the third year. So that's 300,000 out of the 320 na makukuha natin sa third year. So yun ang proportion ng nakuha natin. No? Okay, Control Enter. So that's approximately 3.9 years, no? 394 years. Okay, questions? Masyadong malaki. Okay, I'll flash the formula for a while for those of you who are following along. Okay, paki-chat nga guys kung clear or if you need some clarifications. Hinahanap natin yung payback is the number of years marirecover natin yung initial investment natin. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Charles. Okay, the rest, guys. So take note, as of the second year, kailangan pa tayo may maka-recover na 300. So dapat ma-recover natin to out of the total na cash flow natin ng year 3. So linagyan ko ng negative kasi pag hindi ko linagyan negative guys, magiging negative tong answer na to. Tapos liliit yung ano natin. This will become negative. Therefore, it will become less than 3 years. So 2 years plus na lang. So mali yun. Okay? Alright, so that's 3.94. So based on payback period, no? 3.94 years. Now, kay Z naman, okay? So, kay Z, let's do that also. Is equal to sum of this column. And then, i-fix natin tong F4, F4, F4. Just the column B. No? Close this. Control Enter. I-bold na lang natin. And then, copy to the right. There. Okay, so our payback period for project Z is equal to, so the recovery will be on the 4th year, no? Kasi dito magiging positive, plus negative of 410 divided by 710. So that will be our payback period for, for project Z. Okay, control enter. So that's 4.58 years. Okay, so it takes, it will take longer to recover project Z. Understandable guys kasi 1,800, 1.8 million yung initial investment natin dito. Okay, clear guys? Paki-chat nga kung clear. I hope everyone, others will also chat box guys. Clear, thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Okay. Ano naman to? Discounted payback. Ang kaibahan lang nito guys sa payback period is that ito, ang ginagamit natin, yung discounted amount, which is the more correct one. Kasi ito guys, nyo, ina-add natin to, di ba? Kinumulate natin. Pero, di ba, technically, hindi natin siya pwedeng i-add kasi they belong to different time frames. So, a better measure of payback period is a discounted payback. So, dito ang ginagawa natin, ang ina-adapt natin yung discounted cash flows. So, let's compute, same as what we did a while ago. Kung natin yung PV, ang rate natin yung WACC, Nper is, dali, copy na lang natin to. No? Control C, let's copy the the period there. So this is equal to negative PV, rate is your WACC, Nper is this one, comma, future value is your 1, 2. Okay? And then ignore the type. So na ako, negative PV ng WACC. Nper is this one. Oops, dali. Let me repeat guys. Rate is, ang rate natin yung WACC. No? Comma, what's our Nper? This. Comma, PMT wala. Okay, nagkamali ako sa PMT. There. Okay, ignore the type kasi hindi naman to annuity. There. Same formula as above, guys. Tapos, copy to the right. Then we can now cumulate some. Tapos ang gagamitin natin cumulation, guys, yung present values. There. Control Enter. Okay, so let me just flash the formula to give you a few seconds to follow. So same thing as above, only that here we're using the present values to cumulate. That's why it's called discounted payback period, which is the better approach actually in order to account for the recovery of the project. Kasi ito, pwede nating i-add actually yan kasi mga ano yan, mga technically mga present values siya. Okay? So therefore, guys, our payback period is equal to, that's 5 years, no? Actually 4 point, ano, 5, ay, hindi, sorry ah. Wait. Sorry guys, my mistake. This should be, mali ito dapat 2. Kasi after the second year, di ba? Okay. So at the end of the second year plus bago matapos yung third year. And this one is also 3 plus years. Okay. After second year, going to the third year, saka na recover. No? Ito naman, after 3 years, 3 point something years. No? So this should be equal to 4 years plus, again guys, get the negative of this, divided by the, okay, you now use the present value. Ito. hindi yung original na value. So that's 4.2 years. Okay, discounted payback for project Y is 4.2 years. So same thing here, guys, for negative PV. Rate is WACC. NPER is 0. PMT ignore. Future value. Okay, then we accumulate sum, this one, colon. Oops. So that will be our formula. Control Enter. As expected, 1.8 dapat yun. And then copy to the right. Okay, so here the payback period is 4 plus what amount needs to be recovered, this one, divided by the total present value. Okay, so that's 4.5 years. Okay, I'll pause for a while, guys. So for those of you who are following, I'll give you time to work on that. Then if you have any questions, please feel free to chat or to unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, kung walang questions, guys, kindly chat ulit kung clear tayo so far. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for those who are participating. Actually, medyo kilala ko yung mga nagpa-participate, no? So, okay. All right. So, payback period ni project Y is 2.94. Pero undiscounted payback niya 4.2. Of course, the discounted payback period will be higher kasi you're adding up, ang tinitingnan natin yung mga present values. Okay, so kailangan ma-recover natin 1, 2. Ang ginagamit natin yung mga present values. No? So mas maliit yan kaysa dun sa original value. So it will take longer. Okay, so 2.94 as compared to 4.2. Okay. Ang discounted payback period naman ni Z, 4.5. Okay, sometimes may mga companies na ang basis nila yung payback period. How long will it take them to recover? Okay, whether or not magkapareho yung initial investment, minsan binibasean nila sa payback period. But that really depends on the policy of the company. Okay? So, may questions pa dito, guys, sa worksheet na to? So that ends our discussion on this worksheet. So kung titingnan natin to, guys, sabi natin, we learned how to compute for the net present value, the IRR, the MIRR, the profitability index, yung payback period and the discounted payback period. Yung mga decision rules and Npv IRR, they follow they obey the time value of money concept kasi ang ina-add natin doon, ang kino-consider natin are the present values. So okay sila. And by way of summary, sabi natin, pag ang NPV is greater than 0, okay yung project. But if you're considering looking at several projects and they're mutually exclusive, ang kailangan natin tingnan yung pinakamataas na NPV, assuming na pare-pareho silang initial investment. Pero pag magkakaiba silang initial investment, it might not be a good idea just to look at the NPV. It might be a better idea to also take into consideration the initial investment and so make use of the profitability index. Okay? Sabi natin si IRR for as long as, okay, sorry, hindi ko nalagay dito. Okay, I didn't put here if project Y and Z are acceptable. So project, we have to put here kasi project Y and Z are acceptable based on IRR since IRR is greater than WACC. Okay? So ang decision rule natin guys sa IRR, dapat mas mataas siya dun sa cost of capital. No? In this case, 12.6. So since 18.23 and 17.39 are greater than 12.6, then okay pareho si Project Y and Project Z. But if we're going to compare the two, sabi natin, mas maganda si Project Y kasi mas mataas yung IRR niya. Pero again, sabi natin, hindi natin tinitingnan lang yung IRR, titingnan din natin si NPV, si Profitability Index. Pag may nagko-conflict doon, then sabi natin, the rule is follow NPV kasi mas theoretically sound yung paggawa ng NPV. Some would not use NPV IRR. No? Kaya nga, guys, sorry kaya nga meron tayong MIRR solution. And MIRR will always yield a result that's in agreement with NPV. Okay? Tapos yung iba naman, tinitingnan din yung payback period. How long will it take us to recover the initial investment? The more strict rule is to use the discounted payback. Kasi dito sa discounted payback, ang ginagamit natin yung mga present values. It's stricter kasi it will always yield a higher payback period. Siyempre, ang mas gusto natin, mas lower yung payback period kasi it's the velocity of how fast we will be able to recover our funds, our investments. Okay, so let's go here, guys. Okay. Ito, okay, you have a problem here where you have different initial cash flows. Okay, we know what to do with this one. Actually, sabi natin, pwede natin tingnan yung profitability index. Aside from that, magkaiba pa yung magkaiba yung terms nila, no? Yung isa 6, yung isa 4, yung isa 5, yung isa 8. So how do we analyze this? Pag unequal lives, guys, pag magkaiba yung magkakaiba yung 45 hanggang we have a few more minutes. Kaya natin to, no? Magkakaiba yung guys, yung terms niya. Yung isa 6, yung isa 5, yung isa etc. So, let's first compute for the NPV. We know how to compute for this, diba? NPV. Okay? Rate is, gamitin natin tong. Okay? So, we need not fix that kasi ikakopy natin to the right. Value natin, dapat ang value guys, diba? Dapat yung starting with year 1 lang. No? Okay, so since hindi natin to pwedeng lang kasi hindi natin pwede siyang i-copy to the right. No? So ang gawin natin, pwede naman natin i-copy lahat. Total, wala namang values doon. So that will be read as 0. Okay? And then what next do we do with this one, guys? To compute for the NPV? Kulang pa yan, diba? Kasi hindi pa natin nasasama dyan yung year 0. So we add year 0 there, 92. Okay? So, okay, NPV ni A, 60,693. Okay. There. Okay. So based on NPV, sino yung pinakamagandang guys, project? Based on NPV alone, okay, project D is the best. Diba? Project D ang best kasi pinakamalaking siya. Pinakamalaking, correct, no? Thank you, Charles. No? Pinakamalaking NPV siya. However, we have a problem. No? Kasi, ang problema, parang unfair na i-judge natin pinakamaganda si Project D kasi siya yung pinakamalaking number of years. No? So parang hindi equivalent. Okay. So we now go to, ang gagawin natin guys, kukunin natin yung present value interest factor of an annuity. Anong ibig sabihin nun? So let me explain what this is. Present value of an annuity. So ito yung natin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's take a look at project A na 6 yung ano, no? 6 yung years niya. Okay. Ang ibig sabihin ng present value interest factor of an annuity of 1. Okay, ulitin ko yun. Present value interest factor of an annuity of 1. So ito yan, no? PVIFA. Ibig sabihin nun, okay, kung 1, you have an annuity of 1, no? You have an annuity of 1. What is the equivalent present value? An annuity of 1 for 6 years. Di ba? Madali natin makompute yan, di ba? The way to compute that is simply negative PV. No? Ang rate natin, si A is 12%, comma, NPER is, ano yung NPER natin? NPER natin, it's 6, no? 6 tapos, PMT, 1, okay? No future value, tapos type, okay? End of the period, or we can ignore that. Okay, so that's 4.11. Ibig sabihin yung 1 na to, this one is equivalent to 4.11. So kailangan natin kunin to, guys, no? Para ma-annualize natin. Time na pala. Guys, may I have 1 more minute, tapusin na lang natin to, no? Kasi ayoko nang balikan to next time. So just do this is equal to negative PV. Okay, ang rate natin, no, 12%, comma, okay, NPER, ilang periods? Okay, ang problema natin, guys, ito 6, ito 4, ito 5, ito 8. Okay? So, hindi ko na kayo matatanong dito, guys, ha? Pero we can use the count A function. Yung count A function, ang gagawin niyan, bibilangin yung may laman. No? So, ang gawin natin dito, no? Ito. Ang i-highlight lang natin from year 1, isama natin hanggang year 8. Kasi, ang bibilangin lang yan, sino may laman dito? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Pag hinighlight natin, pag kinapin natin to the right, so from here to here, ang bibilangin lang niya yung may laman. So that will take care of your NPER. Kasi ito 4, ito 5, ito 8. Okay? So, comma. Okay, count A. So, close na natin si count A, comma. PMT is 1, no future value, and then end of the period 0. There. Control Enter. So that's now your present value. Copy to the right. Okay. And then divide natin to get the annualized. This is what we call the annualized. So si A and PV ang tawag dyan. Annualized. Sorry guys ha. A few seconds more. Annualized net present value. Okay. So, divide lang natin is equal to this divided by this. Okay. There. Okay. So, based on the net annualized NPV, the best is project B. Okay. The annualized net present value, parang kino-compare siya, no? On the average every year, magkano yung net present value ni project B? It's 31,448, better than project D. So, project B is the project to choose. Okay, so let's stop here, guys. Pause ko na muna yung ano. Stop recording.